thought about running the entire length of Africa, one of the main elements of this challenge was conceptualising how we could use this opportunity to create an impact that went way further than just one man running across a continent. In this video, I'm going to share with you how together we can make that happen. My journey into the world of overcoming difficult things started as a young person that was miserable, struggling in all aspects of life. I was working multiple different jobs all around the clock to try and sustain a life I didn't even like living. One night I was in Brighton in a nightclub and I just decided to run home. For whatever reason, I ran like 11 miles home, took me fucking hours. You know, from that moment, a mate texted me, "Russ, I think you should come and run Brighton half marathon with me." My initial reaction was just like, why the fuck would I do that? But then, you know, I kind of realised I've got nothing else going for me in life, so on a whim, I just decided to go for it. A few weeks later, we ran Brighton full marathon. It was that moment that kind of changed my life. Running Brighton full marathon was something so inconceivable to me, and the fact that I managed to do it made me genuinely confident in myself for the first time in a long time. It made me disciplined. I was motivated to go and get what I want out of this life instead of letting life happen to me. I thought of the idea of running from Asia to London, never been done before. I did that back in 2019 and we've been riding this wave ever since, really. The thing there, really, is that I was lucky because I had a mate that put his arm around me and said, "Russ, come and run." I guess the question is, like, what about people that don't have that mate? You know, what would have happened to me if I didn't have that? That's where the running charity steps in. The running charity uses running as the spark to ignite positive change for young people across the country, which is why I'm really proud and excited to announce that the running charity is going to be the first charity we're fundraising for throughout Project Africa.
So I came to the UK in 2001. I was born in Rwanda. So when I was 4 years old in Rwanda, there was a genocide. I think it was like 800,000 people were murdered within 2 weeks. So they took us to like a massive open field and just basically start hacking people away. I remember like my dad basically laying on top of me. By the time the finish was like nightfall, I was like unharmed. I was like not a single nick. My dad had died at that point because he was laying on top of me. He basically took the blunt of everything. And then I heard like my mum calling out for me until some sort of rescue happened, which it did happen luckily for us.
My childhood was filled with neglect and abuse. I was first put into foster care and they kept putting me back at home, which was where all this, the main amount of abuse was taking place. As soon as I was introduced to drugs, that was my escape.
Yeah.
I kept running away to the point where social services just didn't bother taking me back. And it was like that for a long time until I was maybe 18.
Like, what was your support network like at that time?
Oh, I never had one.
Non-existent.
It calmed down when I was around about 18. I fell through every crack in the system. I kept reaching out for help and I was getting nowhere, just kept getting pushed back.
Yeah.
They actually have files on me from the day I was born.
Really, yeah.
But no one ever did anything to, to take care of me.
I was born in Sierra Leone. I was like 5 years old when our house get burned. A few of my siblings were sleeping in there. They all just burned and died in there. And that was when life started going rough. So during the war, because obviously at that time, because they were more concentrating on like recruiting young kids, because it's
child soldiers.
It's more easy for you to like
indoctrinate you. Yeah.
I was taken, and that time I was telling my mom, she tried to like fight people like the rebels not to take me. Yeah. And then she got shot 5 times in front of me. Having that in your head is always like a massive thing, you know.
And how old were you when that happened?
6. But as a kid, you don't even know what you're doing. So whatever someone says to you, you just do it. You know what I mean? They start using machete to cut people's arms and everything. Then it kind of get to me hard. Like, you're always trying to find a way out. The night time, and I had to like find a way out to run away with 3 of the other boys, and then we ran. A few of them got shot. I got shot to my leg. Really? So the bullet was stuck in there, and I just continued to find my way back to meet my dad. But at that time, I'm gone. Like, I was so violent to my siblings. Like, you could look at me for no reason. Like, now I'll just pick up a chair and whack it on your head. I was totally destroyed. Like, and it was hard. Like, it was really, really hard. You know.
My mum left me with family members in Africa so she can come to the UK and get a treatment, and then hopefully get me to come and join her. So I came to join her over here when in 2001 when I was 10 years old, and then it was like straight into school where I didn't know any English. The only thing I knew, I always made the same joke. The only thing I knew was like football, Manchester United. I was one of those people who's like quietly angry all the time, mainly because of what I've been through.
I came up with an organization that they were doing like peace and reconciliation. So I was lucky to be among the people that were selected. And I was homeless from 16 up to the age of 18.
I ended up in a very abusive relationship where I was essentially a prisoner. I couldn't go anywhere by myself. I wasn't allowed access to my mobiles, you know. It was so severe I couldn't even go to the bathroom by myself. Even though I was doing everything that I was told, it was never enough.
Yeah.
I was still getting a beating for it. I was still being mentally and emotionally tortured every day. I ended up pregnant, and that's when things got so much worse. I actually lost that. That was the final straw for me. I managed to kick him out the house, even though this was a long process. So that went on for some time.
Yeah.
And eventually he started cyber stalking me, harassing me, following me. I finally got a restraining order, but it wasn't based on all of the previous abuse that he had done. So he got off lucky.
I basically did a lot of things I didn't enjoy so I could get to university, which I did do. I just hated it. Apart from what came after, probably one of the worst sort of mental health situations I've been in. So I dropped out. That caused like a really unlivable situation with my mum, and my little sister was there as well. The arguments got to a point where I was just like, I'm just leaving. So I was like 19 years old, like I'm just leaving, no plan where I'm gonna go. That was the first night I slept rough.
Okay, now you've been here for a couple of years. It's time for us to like put yourself forward and apply for asylum. My case got refused about 4 or 5 times. You get to a point where I feel like, that's it, man.
Yeah.
You know, like you just want to like just kill yourself because you got nothing else left, you know. So if I go back, then what's that? There's nothing absolutely there for me, innit? But then things started going slowly. They gave me the 2.5 years. I've been a good, not a citizen, but a good person in society. I've never been to any crime, no drugs, no this, no that. I always trying to pay my taxes and all that. So I speak to my solicitor, went through the whole process again, and then we make 2 applications. So one is for indefinite leave to remain, and then it worked. So end up having an indefinite leave to remain.
Amazing. Then what was the feeling like when that came through?
You can't even celebrate.
Yeah.
You feel like you lost a lot of years that you can't cope.
I couldn't sleep. I was still afraid to go outside. My therapist turned around and said, I want you to try Women's Aid. And I told him that it wouldn't work because that's been my experience, but I did it out of spite. What I was able to take away from it is that I wasn't crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, I can actually believe what I see, hear, and think.
I obviously needed some help, so I'll go to the council and see if they can help me out. And it's like, you're not a priority. Yeah. There's nothing we can do. The New Rise Youth Centre was just literally down the road. Yeah. And so I decided to go there. And then that's where I met Alex, the co-founder of the running charity.
I think it started when I was working at a homeless day centre. Sports work was really kind of rewarding to start off with. But then the kind of first recession came through in it was like 2009. Sports work, it kind of just took a back step. So me and James met, and James was like, listen, I want to get a group of young people to run a marathon. Yeah. We don't have trainers, we don't have all this sort of stuff. So if you go and source that, I've got the young people and I've got kind of a program, and let's just see how it goes.
So me and Claude met in a shelter. And like, why don't you just come with us the next day to this place in King's Cross called New Horizon?
And I spoke to the women's coach at the running charity at the time. I was sort of struggling with an eating disorder, and I was sort of binging at the time. In a very optimistic few minutes, I was like, yeah. And
I think the wonderful thing about running is it's not particularly rewarding. At first. It's awful. Right?
The first discussion him and the other co-founder had with us about the marathon, and I'm pretty sure he got like a resounding no.
Yeah. When someone come up to me like, "Wanna go for a run?" I'm like,
I don't know what it was that caused me to get out of bed, jump on a bus. I met her in a park and I ran 2 kilometers for the first time and hated it.
Yeah. I was at a point where I was beginning to lose hope. The future is irrelevant if you can't guarantee a meal today. It was like a last-ditch thing for me to hold on to something over myself because I was losing who I was.
What you'll get is a reward back, and I think a lot of young people that face both complex issues alongside trying to navigate a system that's not fit for purpose, all your best efforts can lead to nothing, right? And you give up on process. You go, okay, listen, you told me that running a 5K, 10K marathon was impossible.
Yeah.
Right? But you just done it, and we didn't do it, you did it.
Yeah.
And then you transfer those lessons over to the other side of things.
And yeah, I kept going back. Before I knew it, I was at 3 miles. I joined the group sessions, which was another really big step. I was literally terrified, but I thought, I'm just gonna go. I got on the transport, hated it, regretted all my decisions up until I started running.
Yeah.
You know, I met everyone there. They were a wonderful bunch.
What other things can I use this newfound confidence and this new idea to help in all other aspects of my life? For the first time ever, since I became homeless, I was starting to think about the future.
There's so many things I can accomplish, but I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
But what can I do for me to get to that point?
I kind of realised through running, I can do hard things.
You know, a lot of our young people are told the reason why they're in their situation often is their fault. All of it is never their fault.
Yeah.
When you trace the experiences they've had as kids.
Every single time I came into the sports hall, I was no longer like Claude, the homeless guy. I was just Claude, the guy trying to better himself.
Yeah.
I essentially got a chance to build myself up from nothing into a person I'm not only proud of, but other people can now rely
Look up
on.
to.
You sit across the room like we're doing now, and we're looking at each other, and it's like, tell me your story.
Yeah.
Like that, and it's like, whereas if I'm running side by side with someone, it's completely different. You start having conversations that are a little bit different about problems or where they're from or what they've experienced, and then it begins to build trust, and you begin to work through problems. And nothing helps a young person more than your time, respect, and trust.
Eventually, I trained for my first half marathon. As soon as I got that medal, I had something physical to say. I ran a half marathon.
Yeah.
And I was really proud of that.
Changed my life completely. Like my life did like a 180. Like once I was able to start achieving things physically. Alex, asked me if I wanted to be the first program coach. To have people who have gone through the most like difficult situations you can ever think of, but they still have the smile on their face when they're running.
I use my experience to speak to the young people. Wherever I can help, listen, it's not going to be permanent.
Yeah.
It's going to take time, probably months, probably years.
Yeah.
It's going to come to an end.
I'm going to give you a committed amount of time, right? And I'm going to be there thick and thin.
Yeah.
When you say you're going to be there and I turn up and you're not going to be there, I'm going to still be there. And I'm going to allow you to make your mistakes.
You want to come here, you want to sit down and talk, I'm always available. I'll talk to you every single day if you want to talk to me.
They no longer have this tag over their head of like, Claude the asylum seeker, or Claude the refugee, or Claude the homeless guy, Claude the gay guy. It doesn't really exist when you're just out there in your running gear, running from point A to point B. Yeah. You're just a person.
We're reviewing young people that had left us 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They're uniformly doing incredible.
I am very proud of them and they should be as well.
Amazing.
I think 100% have said it's enabled them to want to set higher goals.
Yeah.
Right? All of them have said that it's impacted their mental health positively.
The charity means a lot to me, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I probably wouldn't have made it if it hadn't been for the running charity at the time.
If the running charity wasn't there, I don't know, maybe I'll still be homeless today, or maybe something bad would happen to me.
They were the one thing in my life that were exactly what they said they were.
Obviously I'm very biased.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I don't think there's anyone that matches us in terms of the impact, the sustainability.
I'm still learning as time goes on, I'm not perfect. I'm gonna make so many mistakes along the way. And I'm gonna regret it, but for me it's a learning curve.
That's a shining example that there's a light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
As someone that's grew up in the UK, I'm lucky enough to have never faced the realities of not having clean water. Everyone on the planet should have access to clean water, and that is what WaterAid is on a mission to do. So I'm delighted to announce that the second charity we're raising money for is WaterAid.
A global promise was made for everyone, everywhere, to have sustainable, safe water, decent toilets, and good hygiene by the end of this decade. Billions have gained water and toilets, but progress is too slow. This is unacceptable, unnecessary, and unjust. Imagine a world where no woman is forced to waste her time walking and queuing for hours to collect water, where no girl is excluded from a better future because her school doesn't have toilets that work and lock, where no community is held back by an endless cycle of sickness from dirty water supplies and poor hygiene, where no one lives in fear that a changing climate will mean a thirsty tomorrow. We are WaterAid, and we exist for that purpose alone. Change is possible, and the time for change is now. We are calling on governments, the private sector, and people who can use their power to deliver change to join us and create a monumental shift in ambition and approach. We know it can be done together. We will work with partners to transform water, sanitation, and hygiene services for entire districts and towns. We will leverage this progress to catalyze wider change beyond where we work. We will show that clean water, decent toilets, and good hygiene are human rights that unlock better futures for everyone, especially women and girls. Together with our partners, allies, and supporters, we will work with determination and urgency towards our vision. A world where WaterAid no longer needs to exist.
I know times are tough right now. The cost of living crisis has us all on strings, so any money you can afford to donate would be massively appreciated. I also don't want to be that guy that's sat here asking all of you to donate and not backing it up myself. So I want everyone to know that anything that I personally make from this project, whether that's through AdSense on YouTube or the Patreon or sponsorships, anything I personally make will be donated to the charities. So if you would like to donate to the charities directly, then we've set up a fundraising link with the amazing people at GiveStar. That link is going to be in the description below. I also want to give a special shout out to GiveStar, who shared a passion for this project with me so much that they've offered to boost our fundraising efforts at multiple different milestones throughout the campaign. For those of you that don't know about GiveStar, it's a giving platform that's designed to connect people through the causes that mean the most to them, making for more meaningful donations, more meaningful connections, and it's easier to donate than ever. I'm also going to be writing weekly blogs on the GiveStar page, so be sure to check that out. But that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you would like to donate, the link is down below.